Hey, what is up? So today I'm going to talk about how to get more energy, and I'm going to talk about another side of something that you need to do if you want your body to make more energy. So there are the inputs, and I've shared lots of different things that you can do to help your body make more energy. I also have my biohacking guide. There's a link below in the description if you want to get that, and that teaches different biohacks to help your body make more energy. Now the flip side is, what are the things that are robbing you of energy? And you want to identify as many of those as possible and eliminate them. And the more things that you get rid of that are robbing you of energy, the more energy you're gonna have to do all the stuff you want to do, so you can have an awesome, productive day, so you can heal if that's something you're working on, and just because life is so much better with energy, right? So, inflammation is the enemy of energy production. Your mitochondria, which make all of your energy, are extremely sensitive, and anytime there's inflammation, they make less energy. In some cases, they break down and don't make any energy at all. So I like to break it up into three different categories. So the first is food. So inflammatory foods are robbing you of energy. Things like sugar, processed foods, gluten, conventional dairy. These are all inflammatory foods. When you eat them, your body makes inflammation. Sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't feel it. But even if you don't feel it, it's still having a negative impact on you. So lots of times though, I remember back when I was in corporate America, I'd always go out to lunch with my coworkers, and lots of times I'd have a sandwich or pasta or some kind of carbs, and I'd get back to work and I'd be stuck in food coma. So you want to be aware of the different foods that are robbing you of energy. Stick with whole foods, mostly healthy fats, proteins, vegetables, and then fruits when they're in season. So in the winter, you don't want to be pounding a bunch of bananas or strawberries or whatever if they're not growing where you live, because that's out of season. Once in a while is okay. Just make sure they're not a staple. So identify inflammatory foods in your diet, eliminate them as much as possible, and eat mostly whole foods, healthy fats, proteins, vegetables, and then fruits in season. So that's number one. Number two is stress. So there are two sides to stress. There are external stressors. External stressors are being stuck in traffic, having bills to pay, having a boss that's always like riding you, being in a relationship with someone that's always riding you, or just being mean or calling you names, stuff like that. That's an external stressor. And when you get these external stressors, your body releases different hormones, things like cortisol and adrenaline, and that actually impacts your mitochondrial function. So you need to be very aware of these different stressors, identify and eliminate as many as possible. Then there's also internal stress. So internal stress is when something goes wrong in your life and you beat up on yourself, or maybe you look in the mirror and you're kind of fat and you call yourself, oh, you're such a fat ass. That's an internal stressor, especially when you dwell on it, because it causes the same release of these inflammatory hormones, things like cortisol and adrenaline, which in short bursts are really good, but when they're chronically running through our bloodstream, it causes inflammation, it impacts your energy. So the third category is your environment. So environment's a little more tricky because a lot of these things we can't see, smell, or taste. So things like electromagnetic fields, wireless radiation. So you can't feel that. Some people can. There's about 2 to 3, maybe 4% of the population that is very sensitive to electromagnetic radiation. But for the rest of us, we can't feel it. We can be right next to a very strong wireless field or electromagnetic field. We can't feel it, but it's causing inflammation. And when you have that inflammation, you have a decrease in energy production. So you want to be aware of these different sources of wireless radiation. I have another video, so at the end of this video, I'll have a link that goes into detail about different things you can do to biohack your home to really significantly reduce different sources of wireless radiation. Other sources of inflammation in the environment is the air you breathe. So if you live in a big city and commute every day, you're on the highway, cars are putting out pollution. And when you're on the road, you are inhaling a lot of pollutants. So you're going to have to do some things to help mitigate that. Water. So if you drink tap water, that's a big no-no. There are many pollutants in tap water. Here in the US, about 40% of all tap water has lead. So lead, you can't taste it when you're drinking it in the water. That causes inflammation. It's also neurotoxic. It's not good for your brain. So you want to be drinking pure water, especially fluoride-free water. A lot of cities in the US and around the world still fluoridate their water. That's also neurotoxic. It causes inflammation. So be aware of these different things. The air you breathe. So in your house, you can add different house plants. If you have a carpet, you want to vacuum a lot. If you have a hardwood floor, you want to dust a lot. So keep your house nice and clean. Add plants to it. Make sure you're drinking pure water. Work on eliminating different sources of wireless radiation and electromagnetic fields. Ideally for that, you want to get a meter because like I said, you can't feel, smell, or taste it. So with the meter, you can identify, okay, this is where I've got a strong field. This is causing me more inflammation. This is reducing my body's energy production. And you can either avoid that area or do some things to help mitigate it. I hope this helps. And like I said, if you want some more inputs to increase your energy, get my biohacking guide. And in the meantime, start to identify these different sources of inflammation because the source doesn't matter. Whether it's food, stress, or environment, inflammation decreases your body's production of energy. And with less energy, you get symptoms. If that goes on for a while, then you get disease. When you have no energy, that's death. So the key to a long, healthy life free of disease is keeping that energy pumping in your body. So keep it up. If you have any questions, ask below in the comments, and I will see you on the next video.